favorite zombie movie was, I forgot what it was, but it's World War Z.
That's a great one. Loved
I
it.
love it.
Brad Pitt.
I used to be obsessed with Brad Pitt.
Of course. Well,
Love
when
it.
did you become attracted to Rick Grimes?
Oh wow. So, actually, probably this episode here. You know that
Really?
I thought that I was doing the episode when he did the guy's juggler. That's what you was.
Oh no! Oh
I got all
no!
confused. But this episode here, I'm glad I did this one because this is when I really started having so much respect for him.
Uh-huh.
Just the
Mhm.
way that
Okay.
he handled himself, and that's yeah. Now before I go off on the
Okay. Well, we're gonna say goodbye, and you can come back. No, I'm just kidding.
Mhm.
That was intense. Well, I'm sure you'll call in for that one, and we'll get to hear what you think. But so this one really, that's pretty cool. Then that you're on for this one.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, it's Walking Dead season 4, episode 11, Claimed. Renee, as our guest of honor, would you like to read the plot summary?
As Rick, Carl, and Michonne rest, their home is disturbed by a group of men called claimers, and they are forced to abandon it. Later, finding signs towards Terminus along railroad tracks, Glenn and Tara learn that Abraham and Rosita are escorting Eugene to Washington, D.C., as he knows how to stop the Walker outbreak once there. Yeah,
That's
right.
not true.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, how was it to watch this again, Renee? In general, just did you like it?
Okay. Y'all, you guys hear me talk about my 9-year-old goddaughter. She's here because they're on spring break. So she was watching it with me. And to watch it through her eyes, someone that has never seen it, she
Mm.
was like, when she saw Rosita, she was like, "Grandma, what she got on?" Like she was a
Not
hot
much.
mess. Yes. She was like, "Why did she have that on?" And then when the guys were talking about what they're gonna do with Michonne, she was saying, "Grandma, what are they saying they're gonna do to her? What are they gonna do?" And before I know it, I was like, "They're gonna rape her." And she was like, "Rape?" And I was like, "Yeah, rape. You
Yeah,
say
they're gonna
rape and
rake
they
her
just rape."
like the
Yeah.
leaves.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm like, let me,
God.
I said it too quick. But looking at it through her is so amazing. And she was asking me all kind of questions, and she was like, "This guy right here, Rick," and I was like, "Yeah, that's my boo." She's like, "I'm gonna tell God Daddy." Seeing it again and seeing Rick and him become, he this is when Rick became gangster to me because he was not playing with them at all. So this
Yeah,
episode here is when I really noticed that Rick Grimes was not playing. He stood on business.
that's cool. It's cool. When I asked you when you started to like him, I thought you were going to say the pilot. So it's really interesting that it's actually this
Definitely
episode.
not. He was too. No, he was no. I like see what you got going on. I need a man with a beard and
Yeah,
not.
that's right. Yeah, he was pretty
Yeah,
clean cut back then.
yeah, clean, clean cut. He was too pretty.
Yeah.
I agree.
Lucy, how about you?
I'm just agreeing about Andrew Lincoln's levels of attractiveness. They knew what they were doing with the costuming in this episode. I was like, little ripped sleeve, little bit of
Mhm.
blood on his arm. I enjoyed rewatching it. It was nice to get to know Abraham a little bit,
Yep.
and I really thought there was quite a lot of chemistry with Rick and Michonne, which I hadn't
Yes.
appreciated as much the first time round. So I liked that, and I thought the moments with Michonne and Carl were really cute.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. Yep. I liked it a lot. I think I liked it more this time. Maybe I one thing I really appreciated is that there were 3 different stories going on, and they were all very different. You know,
Mhm.
like Carl and Michelle was more reflective and a bonding thing, and the Eugene and Abraham that was like exploring new characters and kind of getting it's like, what are you guys all about kind of vibe. And then the Rick part was just like home invasion thriller. That was my
Yeah.
favorite part. So I liked it a lot.
Also, Glenn, my respect level for him went to a whole nother level as well.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, Glenn, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cause I think we'll get to it in more detail, but I just, one moment when Abraham was saying, your wife's probably dead. And Glenn just stops, and it looks like he's thinking about whether to agree and stay back with them or not. But more, he's just his anger is building up. You realize because then
Yep.
he fucking pops him in the face.
It's so good.
I knew he was gonna cold clock him. I knew he was
Yeah,
gonna knock the shit out of Abraham.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Although, like, Buddy, seeing the two of them together, I was like, oh, they're both gonna die on the same
Yeah,
day.
I
I was like,
know.
so bleak.
I know.
I was
Uh,
thinking that the whole time. I was thinking like I was, oh my God, they're gonna die.
they're
The
gonna
ultimate
die.
bonding experience.
Rosita, all of I mean, oh my gosh, yeah,
They all die except for Eugene.
yeah.
All
Well,
every single
imagine
Holy
one.
that.
shit.
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's crazy, right? That's what I was thinking about while they were walking down the railroad
Holy
tracks.
crap.
It's really
Yeah,
sad.
Eugene,
Man.
Eugene. Yeah, wow,
My
Eugene.
mind is blown by that. I'm like, oh yeah, they
Exactly,
do all go.
exactly. The scariest one in the bunch,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super scary.
That haircut.
Let's get into our points. What do you got, Renee?
Jason, why would you make me go first?
You don't have to go first.
I'm the only guest. Okay, I
That's
definitely
right.
have Abraham. I have Abraham is a mess. Abraham, and like I said the other week with what's the Tar. I mean, they brought a comic to the show. We didn't know that we needed that. They were initially, I think I was like, why? Like, this is The Walking Dead. Why are they having all this comedy? But that's what we needed because it was so much gore and it was so graphic. Sometimes we needed to pull back.
And bleak too, bleak and tragic all the time.
Yeah. And Abraham, yeah, I didn't realize. I forgot about all the little funny things that he used to say and how he talked.
Yeah, especially the scene where Tara is kind of judgmental of him because he was smiling when he killed all the zombies, and he's like, I'm the luckiest man in the world, and I just love that because it's like, dude, it's kind of true. I don't know if he meant this, but if 99% of the people in the world died and you're one of the ones still alive, it's kind of refreshing to see someone have a like happy attitude about that. Like, I'm lucky, man. But I think he might have also meant because I'm with the scientist who has the cure, which
okay,
that's going to be a rude awakening.
I got that written down. Why did he say that? I had that written down. So I'm like,
what do you think?
I don't. Abraham just be Abraham. I don't have no idea. It's hard. Like, why are you smiling?
Yeah, I think he's just like right now, at least he's in a good place as far as like, I'm still alive. I'm on a mission. It's all good.
The wife and your kid. I think that's for me with The Walking Dead. And I realize they can't show it, but they don't show enough grief because there's no way I'm gonna bounce back that quick. Like,
No.
yeah.
I mean, maybe he's in denial too, because he also like the whole thing of telling Glenn, your wife's probably dead. Well, that's because his own wife died, and so he's got that perspective on it, and also 99% of the people in the world, as I said before. So, but still,
including your family.
Yeah, but you should never say that to somebody, though.
Yeah, I found it quite fun watching Abraham this time because like he's got funny energy, Abraham, in this episode, and I think we as viewers at this point we still don't like know him, and there's still a question mark about like, is this guy just a dickhead or is he good-hearted, or like what is he about? Like he is with the zombies, he's not cruel, but he's quite gung-ho in a way we've not seen. Like he's smiling, he's like happy to do it. And I remember we were quite judgmental of like the first time we meet Daryl. Does he not call like a female zombie a skank or something? He's like, you are an ugly skank or something. We're like, oh, okay. Whereas Abraham, I don't know. Yeah, his energy is quite interesting in this episode, and the way he is with Glenn. I remember, I think when he finds out that Eugene's been lying, that's almost when we see him grieve and get angry, is because like he's really attached himself to, and we see that in a flashback, don't we? Like Eugene literally walks across him just after like his wife and kids have died.
That's right.
So he's just transferred everything into that.
I'm rethinking all this now. You're right. He didn't give himself any time to grieve. He just put all his hopes on this Eugene character.
Which is like bleak, man. Like that haircut. Like, yeah.
Eugene just he seems like the type of person that would tell a tale for someone to protect him. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it seems like Abraham probably just needed something to believe in at that moment, and so he let himself ignore all the red flags. But it seems like Rosita doesn't really necessarily believe because she takes the first opportunity to go and help these people rather than continue on her mission. And then I think when Eugene accepts that, like, okay, we'll go with them for a little while and then we'll see if we find a car or whatever. Then Abraham's like, well, I got to follow Eugene everywhere he goes, you know, and get him back on track because that's what he's pinned all his hopes on.
Yeah.
Maybe because I know what, what happened, was going to happen, then I'm looking at it differently because it's like, it's no way, Eugene, no way.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Do we think Eugene shot the van on purpose?
Yeah, because he had a smirk on his face when they walked.
Right? That's what because Peter was like, I don't know. And I'm like, he looks
He
pretty
was
happy at the end. And
yeah,
there's
he had a smirk.
definitely a moment where he pivots left where I'm
I
like,
don't know. I think he's just the worst because
I think he
there's
just
so
sucks.
many other instances where he's shit with walkers after this, you know?
Yeah, but I think I'm with Renee on this one. I think he's at it. I think he's trying to get them to slow down because as soon as they get to Washington, he's
Yeah.
fucked.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
And then, so, when he tells Glenn, you know, you gotta come with us, he says, let me tell you how to best avoid winding up just another dead alive prick. You find some strong, like-minded comrades and you stay stuck together like wet on water. We need people. The more, the better. We need each other, partner. I think that's right on. That's what I keep saying about The Walking Dead. Like, if you got to have that mindset, you know, bring people in and you're stronger together, but they have to be willing. It doesn't work if you're forcing them or kidnapping them. And I think it's kind of interesting that Glenn's wearing the orange backpack, right? When we first saw the guy wearing that backpack, he was begging to be a part of the group and they just drove right past. Now Glenn's wearing it and he just wants to get away from the group. So I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's kind of an interesting backwards. All right, Lucy?
I had Abraham as well, actually. I'm just looking at some other notes I had. I'd forgotten how much I love Abraham talking. Just like the things he says. I got talking about Glenn ending up just another dead alive prick. We have to stick together like wet on water. The only time he kind of like stumbles a little bit is when he is talking to Glenn. He says, when people we love when they disappear, that doesn't mean you got to go out that way too. And you can tell that that's something that has, I don't know, really cut him deeply, obviously. Son of a Dick really made me laugh when he was looking at the fuel. I was like, yes, this is the Abraham we're here for. And his whole like elaborate war story about a camel question mark getting blown up. And then he's like, how in the holy hell could you possibly kill this truck? And then Eugene says, fully ramped up state and an ignorance of firing weapons. And then at the end, when everything's kind of falling apart a bit for Abraham, like Rosita's like, I'm gonna go with these guys. What else are we gonna do? Go to Washington, fix the whole damn world. And then Eugene saying, trust me, I'm smarter than you, and sort of smirking. I don't know, the banter was just great. He refers to Glenn as a persistent son of a bitch. I get why you're following him. And he's very much like he's posturing for a lot of the episode with Tara. He's like, what we have to do is just it's just more important because he's feeling. I imagine you would feel quite smug if you thought they had the whole solution there.
Absolutely.
No judgment to him. Like he's he's got cracking arms and he thinks he's got the cure to all humanity. Like, no, I'd be like that too, probably. And it's interesting that Tara's so kind of protective of Glenn. I like that she's like writing down on her hand all the places they've been. She's really wary of these new people and she's really holding her own with Abraham and she's not intimidated by him. And I think that's a nice dynamic.
But she also made the decision to let them put his unconscious body on a truck and drive away when she knew he probably wouldn't like that. But she was kind of in a tough spot because she didn't want to be sitting on the side of the road with an unconscious guy.
Yeah. Like, we've all been there. Like,
yeah, it happens.
What you gonna do? Like, she did the best she could in a crappy situation.
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely. And she was writing it down on her hand, so that was cute.
Yeah, she was.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure when I first saw these guys, I wasn't so sure. Like, they're so comic booky, and not only do they look kind of comic booky, especially Rosita, the way she's dressed right now, but all of them. And they have comic booky dialogue, son of a dick, and things like that. But they also have really far out things to say, like, I'm going to insist that you hold the hell up. Believe it or not, the fate of the entire damn human race might depend on it. And I think The Walking Dead was never meant to be a show about finding the cure or even understanding how this all started. No. Robert Kirkman wanted it to be like a grounded story, more or less, about how more or less everyday people would respond to the zombie apocalypse. So I already knew what happened because of the comics, but still I was like, this is changing the show. But now that we've been through the whole show and I've come to love these characters and I've come to know the actors a little bit at Walker Stalker, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to see these guys, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward. And especially Rosita, like, she turned into such a great character.
She was a slow burn.
Yeah, and that scene in Alexandria when she's like, I think there's lightning and rain coming down and she's fighting off all the Zeds. That's one of my favorite scenes in all of The Walking Dead. And
what was it she says when she comes back in? Don't go outside or something.
The comic, did she always dress like that?
I think
the whole
before the time jump, yes, and then when they time jump a bit. When she and Eugene are a couple in the comics for a bit.
That's right. I forgot about that.
She softens a little bit and isn't dressed like that all the time. But for the first while, it's very much her comic book look. I was just say there's so many places you can get bitten when you're wearing that little clothing.
I was thinking that Rosita probably told them, like, stop dressing me like this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not cute.
Kristen Serranos,
Yeah, she probably said, no, I don't want to be objectified, even though I do objectify Rick Grimes. He don't have he don't like. She probably said, no one's going to take me serious, because I definitely didn't. Like I said, Rosita is one of my favorite female characters, but she was. I didn't take her serious when she first came. Like, seriously, why are you dressed like that?
I mean, honestly, when I hear the word objectify, I think often that means that you appreciate someone just for their looks. But I think your love for Rick goes much deeper than that. So I would never say that you objectify Rick Grimes.
It's a very pure love.
But it's about his vibe and his
correct. It's about his yes.
But I get what you're saying, and I wondered about that because I think it goes away pretty quickly, right? The way her dressing like that.
Yeah.
But Eugene too, like Eugene really, I think still the way he speaks, it kind of takes me out of the story because it's so weird. It's not the way anyone really talks. But what I love about him is he's flawed. And I like when a show has flawed characters. I don't want everyone to be a badass. I want some badasses. But if everyone is, then it's not as relatable, you know? You need someone who has some growth that they need to go through. And right from the start, he's a liar. And he's lying because he's afraid, and that's relatable. And because I'm afraid. No, I'm just kidding, but I don't know.
Or are you lying?
Or maybe I always tell the truth, and I'm lying right now. But later he joins up with the Saviors. He's a traitor for a while, it's horrible. But I like that the show had the courage to have some of their supposed heroes do things that weren't perfect. And like I said, for a long time, he's not good at killing walkers. He gets fooled by a fake Stephanie. So I just love that they have a character that they can give all these sort of flawed experiences to. But then he ends up redeeming himself in a bunch of different ways, which I love. I remember just towards the end in seasons 10 and 11, I think, maybe even earlier, I started to feel really connected to Eugene, and I was surprised at that and happy for it. So I'm glad to see him. So Josh McDermott has a role in, I guess there's a Suit spinoff called Suits LA. He's been in a few episodes of that, I heard, and he's also had an episode of The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, no way.
I just cannot imagine him playing anyone except for Eugene, right?
I mean, he became that character, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think the funny thing with Eugene is like he's in some points the most unrealistic character because of how he talks and how he looks, but then in other ways he's the most realistic character because he probably acts in a way that is much closer to how a lot of us would act in the pandemic, like trying to stick with stronger people in any way you can, being scared, being bad at killing zombies. Like he's such an interesting mix that way.
But then he does he does become a hero at the end, so it makes us all feel like we have a chance, you know.
Yeah, he
I
does.
think.
He survives.
Yeah. All right, Renee, your turn. What do you got? What else?
Carl. That's why I stopped. That's where I was going to call. No, first with Michonne, I wrote literally, who ties their shirt up in the back
Yeah.
to show your waistline? That would be
Yeah, yeah.
right there with Michonne. I would be right there with Michonne. Just like Michonne, really, really, really. But when Carl, when they was talking about the soy milk, that just really broke my heart because before he mentioned Judith, and it just the bond between Carl and Michonne is just amazing to me. And it was before that he even knew that she had a child. And when she told him about her family, he was like, "You had a husband? What else? Why'd you tell me? What else are you hiding?" And I thought that was just really the fact that they were able to connect like that when he needed a mother figure and she needed another child. I thought that was really touching and moving.
Yeah, and he like they're already it almost felt like a sequel to Clear as far as their story was concerned, when they first started bonding, and now they're bonding even more. And he accidentally mentions Judith's formula, and that reminds him of her, and he was able to have some fun for a minute there, which Rick was happy about. But then after he mentioned that formula, he retreated back into himself, and he only came back out again when she mentioned that she had a child who died, and he felt like, oh, I can connect with her on this loss, and then that's when he had all the questions and everything.
I think there's like a moment when you're a kid as well, when an adult reveals something like that, and you're like, suddenly this person is a person. Like, I think he's always seen Michonne as like a person who he loves and cares about, but when you're at that age and someone reveals something like that to you, I don't know. I think as kids, you only know your own experience. Like empathy is something that you develop and deepen. And this, I think, it's an eye opener for him because someone he cares about has lived through that kind of loss, but also Michonne becomes a more rounded character rather than just a kind of side character in his story. And that's not a criticism of Carl, because we're all guilty of that, right?
Yeah. As a kid, like you see your teacher and you just think teacher. And then they'll say something in class one day that you realize, oh yeah, they have a whole life and they're a person who has things going on and stuff,
Yeah. And when it's something as shocking as that, you're like, oh my God, but you're so strong. It was funny what you were saying about the shirt, Renee. I was thinking, was it in a Ones Who Live promo thing? It was like Andrew Lincoln was talking about standing on the walls of Alexandria with Lenny James and watching Denai Guerrero walk up in her costume, and they were both just like, she's the fucking coolest person. They're like, she is the cool. And like, I was watching her with her extremely comfortable and attractive shirt, and I was like, she could style anything. Like, you could give her a black bin bag, and she would be like looking incredibly stylish. Whereas Rick kind of hasn't got the memo about like maybe putting a new shirt on.
That white tee, I love to see a man in a white t-shirt and jeans. And when he put on a white t-shirt, I was like, yes, sir.
Classic.
Do you remember the woman who used to go on Talking Dead a lot as kind of like a super fan? And she was in Community.
Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yeah.
So one time at Walker Stalker, Yvette Nicole Brown was going to do moderate a panel with Denai Guerrero. And so we were all backstage, and I was going to go introduce Yvette Nicole Brown. And Denai Guerrero's like, she's done a lot of things, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, Community and all this. And she's like, you better do her right. And I'm like, I will, don't worry about it.
Amazing.
She was really like looking out for her,
I love that.
But did y'all see the promo in the Ones Who Live also when they were in their trailers and she went to go get Andrew Lincoln and she came out and he was like, why do you have yours all, in the middle like this? And she like, you don't want your outfit to look like this. He's like, yes, I do. And she like, no, so her waistline, they always make sure that I feel like that she was kind of objectified a little bit, but only for her body because Michonne, they have her looking so just whatever. But for her body, they will always show her butt. They will always show her waistline. They always show her from that angle. They did that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't do that with Eugene as much.
But I think it was because I mean Dana is very attractive, but on there because she's always mugging and she's always looking a certain way, she does not have that softness about her that Sasha has. So I think it was to make people understand why Rick would be attracted to her.
Yeah.
So they show her from a different angle. I noticed that. I don't know if you guys noticed that. And actually, there's a lot, like I said, because I'm in a lot of the groups, and I hear a lot of things that people say, and a lot of people say that she's not attractive. So in order to make her look attractive,
it was always shocking. Like in the previous episode, showing her in that dream / flashback, all dressed up. It was like, whoa, it's so any of these characters, when you see they do rare flashbacks of pre-apocalypse or when they go to a place where they get to take a shower and dress up nice, it's like, wow, it's so different.
But Michonne looks rough though. Michonne, they have her looking, she's always mugging. I think that's what it is because she tough. So she mugs more so that you don't see a lot of the other ones mugging like that. She's always mugging, and I do understand, why she looks like that. But yeah.
What are you going to say, Lucy?
I was going to say, yeah, it's interesting. Maybe it was about making her I don't know, maybe they felt they had to do more work to make her a love interest, which is so wrong. But the chemistry is just, like I said, the two of them could literally be standing wearing trash bags, and I'd be like, great, best looking people on TV, 10 out of 10.
I think it's perfect.
They get a lot of hate.
Yeah. Well, not here.
No, not here. No.
Oh my gosh, never here. If anything, a weird level of enthusiasm. If anything, we're going to get
Well, I mean, honestly, starting this up, I remember watching this episode the first time because I don't remember exactly when I started thinking, oh, actually, these two, there's something between them. I think this rewatch, I've thought that from almost the beginning, but first watch through, I definitely know this episode. I'm like, wow, they seem like a suburban family here, Carl and Michonne and Rick. And they're even talking about maybe we'll stay here forever. Is that the plan? I don't know. Let's hang out for a while and see. And so I really started thinking at this moment that, oh yeah, they could totally make a great couple. I think from here on, I was shipping them from this episode on.
Do you know, one of the moments that really cemented it for me was when Carl asked about Andre, and the first thing he asked Michonne was, does my dad know? Like, as though it was really obvious that Michonne would have told Rick. And I was just like, they're a little family unit already. Like, they just, there's a natural, like, thing happening here, and it's just really nice. Like,
As a woman, Michonne intentionally tied that shirt up, sashayed in that kitchen, and sashayed off so Rick can look at her. They were already feeling each other.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, they just probably didn't know. That's what I always say about Lori. I'm not a Lori hater because she wanted to get it on. It's just like, it's the ZA. I don't have time right now. That's why they could not. That's Rick and Michonne. It was obvious something was there. But until they got to a place where they knew that their kids was okay, that they could go somewhere by themselves and be by themselves and not worry about their children being hurt.
Yeah.
They were not going to do that. So that's what I don't understand. I don't care about people having sex or people getting together. But until I'm at a place where my child, I know if I take my eyes off of them for 1 second, I know they're okay. I promise. I don't know. I ain't in the ZA, but I know me, and I just want to be thinking about that. I have to make sure my kids are okay. That's why Michonne always say the kids have to be okay. She always say that we have to make a place. They have to be okay. They have to be okay. In order for you to sit down and you to be comfortable, you have to know that your child okay. I say this all the time. My son is 34 years old. That is my only child, and I will go to war about him. I will go to war about my 34-year-old child.
Absolutely.
Period. I don't fight, but I will beat somebody's ass about my 34-year-old child. Period.
He's your baby, man. He's your kid.
That's my baby. Gonna always be my baby. I don't care how old. He always be like, Mom, why you call me that? Because you my baby.
Lucy?
Yeah, I had Michonne and Carl as well. I just noted Michonne is so stylish. I think there's just, yeah, when it got to the kitchen, my notes are just all in capitals, and I've written so much sexual tension, it's wild. And that moment where Rick's like, well, I'm awake today, I've just written, you are so stubborn, Ricky Dicky Doodah. So that's my take on that. Um, but also, like, he must trust Michonne so much to let her take Carl on an errand like this. Like, just that comfort that he
Hmm.
has there, and that he's able to at least try and rest for a little bit, and that she's able to assert herself and say, yeah, you're gonna you're gonna rest. um I'll talk a little about the scene in the house that they're clearing with Michonne and Carl. We learn about Andre Anthony. I love Michonne, this piece of information that we get about her in this flashback, that she's a bit of an art critic or an art connoisseur. And I love her looking at all this absolutely shit art in this house, like the really bad picture of the rabbits. I mean, it's not really shit, like it's fine. Like if people have bought these pictures, that's okay. But she's looking at it like she's in like an art gallery in Europe or something, just sort of staring at it. And the conversation that she and Carl have is so well written, where he says, how long has it been? And she says, it happened after everything happened. He says, does my dad know? Never told him. Never told anyone until just now. And this is my favorite bit. Your secret's safe with me. It's not really a secret. It's still safe with me. That's
Hmm.
really cute. I love
I'm
that.
sure she appreciated that.
Oh, it was such a beautiful moment. And then
Hmm.
I had forgotten in this, my memory of this time on the show is that in every episode, we were inching closer and closer to Terminus, and there was a lot of like ominous signs. And this is one of the first ones I remember. And I've just written in big capital letters, scary ass painting of the Terminus lady. Now, it's not the Terminus lady, it's the mum in the nursery, but it does look a bit like the woman who greets them at Terminus with the side braid and things like that. And the fact it's all scratched up and covered in what looks like blood. And just that turn where like the mood music's really creepy. She goes into this kid's bedroom. Everyone there is dead. It's the whole family with the mum on the rocking chair. Was it a self-portrait that she sabotaged after her family died? And the fact that Michonne protects Carl from that scene is really important. And she smiles when Carl says after that, about Judith, my dad let me name her, maybe her and Andre are together somewhere. So it's like the mix of these really like loving moments with the absolute bleak horror of what is happening. But that picture really creeped me out, and the whole way that the tone
Hmm.
changes is just, well, it's really
Yeah.
scary. Like, it's
Well,
just really scary.
I'm going to talk about them too, but first I'm going to do another point that's sort of something about the whole episode.
Great.
It's called Before and After, because I think more than usual, this show does this a lot, but this episode focuses on kind of the juxtaposition of what came before of civilization
Yeah.
and the way the world is in the ZA now, where
Yeah.
it's wild and dangerous and tragic. And so in this episode, we see a lot of the trappings of the old world, the suburban house that Rick and Michonne are in, stories of Carl playing with his friends and
Crazy cheese.
yeah, the crazy cheese, just the idea of milk and soy milk. Rick's reading a book, Jack London short stories.
Hmm.
Michonne's looking through kids' books and toys, all this stuff. And then contrasted with the horrific reality of the zombie apocalypse, this defaced painting that I found super creepy too. The whole
Hmm.
family dead by look like murder suicide, right? You'd
I
think.
think so, yeah.
Yeah. Then, of course, the claimers, this gang of ruthless, aggressive, homicidal scavengers. So, seeing the paintings, and then Carl brings the one that you were just talking about, and I was like, why is this one, only one of these paintings is vandalized and wrapped up? But I guess that's the theory, right? That it's the mom and she was ashamed or felt guilty and defaced her own painting, but we don't
I
really
think
know,
so. We never
right?
really get an answer. It kind of makes it creepier.
Yeah, I kind of like that we don't.
Yeah.
But that's seeing that painting is what made Michelle. As soon as she saw that, she looked down the hallway
Hmm.
suspiciously,
Hmm.
and it also had a X over its eye, which I think reminded her of the governor, and
Yeah.
just gave her bad vibes.
Yep.
And I think honestly, what happened is Carl defaced the painting and then gave it to Michonne to freak her out. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen.
Carl painted the whole painting, let
Here,
it dry,
how's this?
covered it in blood, gouged the eye out, and then was like, oh, psych.
But Michonne,
Like, what?
I'm just kidding. But I think that was sort of to break the spell of the old world. It was like, no, the world's fucked up now, right? And then she
Yeah.
sees this family that's dead. And I think the message of this episode is kind of like the old world is over, at least for now. You can still have relationships, have some joy, but you also have to be fighters and survivors and watch out for people all the time. And they do eventually find a semblance, at least, of the old world again when they get to Alexandria and maybe even more the Commonwealth. But they're in a transitional phase at best right now.
Yeah.
So Carl and Michonne. So when Rick says, I can't be his father and his best friend, he needs you. I know that's a lot to throw at you. So if you're ever feeling like you need a break, and she says, I'm done taking breaks. And I think that's a follow-on from last time we saw her when she was considering going back to being one of the Walking Dead, basically, and said, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I haven't taken a risk on caring about people since this whole thing started and I lost my son. But now I'm in it. You know, she's like ready to care again. And I would say, aside from this whole incident with Jocelyn and the kids later, that Michonne is in it for the whole rest of the series. Even at the end when she's telling Rick, you gotta love, you know, that's part of what started here.
It also makes that line from The Ones Who Live, I was in love with my son's best friend, slightly less bad, because it's sort of referencing this. Because I remember when he said that in the show, I was like, oh, phrase that better. And now I'm like, oh no, okay, he did kind of say you're his best. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. He's painting them as friends.
Yeah, only like 12 years later, whatever, it's fine.
So now, just Michonne is giving herself to this idea of, I can be a loving person with people again. I don't have to distrust everyone. I can risk it. I can risk caring. And so we see her open up to Carl in a way that she probably hasn't opened up to anyone since this zombie apocalypse started. You know, like she says, as you guys said, that this is the first time she's told anyone about her son. And I thought it was super funny trying to use toddler tactics to get him to laugh, because I could totally see her doing that Cheese Whiz thing with her son. Do you have Cheese Whiz, by the way? This is I think it's called Crazy Cheese because they couldn't use the Cheese Whiz trademark, but it's really Cheese Whiz. Do you have that in Scotland?
We do not have that in the UK. No, it's one of those things that like we learned about from American films and all our mums were like horrified. But I personally would probably try it. Like, I'm going to be real with you. And Danai Gurira, like stunning Oscar, you know, should have Oscars, has written plays, Most Intelligent Women Standing with like cheese dripping out of her mouth, looking really sad. I really felt very seen by that. I was like, oh, honey.
I never liked Cheese Whiz.
Yeah. I used to eat it on crackers as a kid, but I haven't had it probably since then.
It's horrible for you. But what I thought about is when Michonne and Daryl were, when she came back, when they were at the prison, and Daryl came down the hill on a motorcycle, because the governor came right after that. When they came down the motorcycle, and Michonne said that she was getting ready to go look for the governor again, and Rick had the most disgusting look on his face ever. Like, girl, are you serious? So and right after that is when Michonne hurt herself. So I think that when Rick was asking her about, you know, if you ever want to take a time out, he probably thought she was still there at that episode, because then is when instead of, he didn't notice she went off wandering and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, like, if I had one of my kids and I was like, this kid needs a friend, but I have to be a father. And man, he seems to be having a good time with this woman here, but I don't want to foist my kid on her if she's not up for it, you know, but she's totally up for it now.
But why is it Michonne? Like, why did he become so close to her and no one else? He didn't develop a relationship with anyone else like that with Michonne. I was reading that they said that Carl and Daryl never really had a episode together between them two. I never noticed that. I'm gonna make sure I look for that.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's too bad.
Yeah, but him and Michonne from the very beginning Is it just because you think they connected, like how I just connected with you guys from the very beginning? It was just a
That's
connection
a
or
good
something.
question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they are great together. I honestly, I always hate to say this, but I don't think this was Chandler Riggs' strongest work in this episode.
It's a shame because it's coming off of a really good one the
Yeah.
last time we saw him. But
Yes. Yeah. But
yeah,
I even when he's not, when it's not, I still think they have great chemistry together.
yeah.
Um. So just a little bit more on this. So yeah, now that she's brought him out of his funk because they can connect on having lost someone, and gets him curious about her, and she says, I'm only gonna answer one question per room. And I think that's because she has decided to open up more, but she's got to take it slow, right? Because this is super not traumatic, but fragile. No, what's
It
the
is
word I'm looking
traumatic
for?
to talk about someone you've
Yeah,
lost
but
like
it's
that, I think.
tender. It's a tender
Yeah,
subject for her, right? It's the most tenderest.
It's still new.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago since she lost her
And
child.
it's the worst thing that's ever happened to her in her life.
yeah,
And probably. And so clearly she trusts Carl a lot to be telling her this. And I can see why, because he's
yeah.
such a good person. And the fact that he said what you said, Lucy, like, you can trust me with this, even though you said you don't need me to, I'm going to keep it safe.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. It's amazing how Rick listens to Michonne. Like, for whatever reason, like when she was like, "You're gonna rest," and whenever she ever tells him to do something, he always says yes, just like that. Michonne, Daryl can talk him into, well, no, because Daryl, no, Daryl wanted him to kill Negan and he didn't. But Michonne, like I said, he always he just listens to her. And I think again, that's one of the reasons why I love Rick Grimes, because it takes a strong man to be able to listen to a woman. To me, that's okay with not feeling emasculated, not feeling like I'm trying to take control. Because men tend to be like that. My husband can be like that, but because he trusts me, he realized that I have his best interest at heart. And my husband, like I always say, he gangster like Rick Grimes. He has that type of personality. But with me, he really listens to me. Like he will listen to me, and he won't feel like, girl, I'm the man, and you don't tell me what to do. He does not. But it's because I feel like that Rick realizes that Michonne really cares, and that Michonne, that she's the type of person that will protect her family. Like I said, I'm gonna go to war. I will go to war for mine. And I feel like he needed that. Rick needed someone where he could feel like I can be vulnerable. I can let my guards down, and my child is going to be taken care of. Along with Judith, but I'm gonna be fine. Where I can just relax, and like Lucy said, that he was able to let Carl go with her because he trusted her. He knew that she was not coming back without him, without Carl, and that was amazing to me. And that's one of the reasons why I really like Rick Grimes.
Yeah.
I like that.
And he knows, he's seen enough to know that she has great character.
But he's seen that, he has seen that with a lot of them. But for whatever reason, I don't. For whatever reason, Michonne is the one that he's comfortable with. I don't see him just letting Carl just go with anyone, because he is very protective of his son. Yeah. Very protective. He should be.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, she's got great character and she's super capable. So, but I think, and there's just something between them. So you put all that together.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Renee, do you have any more points?
When Rick was under the bed and he was shaking and trembling, you know how terrified he was, and he realized, I think at that moment, he had just dealt with the governor, but at that moment, it's some horrible, horrible people in the world. And in order for me and my family to survive, I'm gonna have to leave the old Rick. He gonna have to stay behind. I have to become gangster Rick. Yeah. I think it was at that moment I got to do what I got to do, because these people are crazy out here in the ZA. And like I always say, this is the way it would be. Women would, again, I'm gonna go back to Lori. I understand about her needing to be protected, because we would have to be, because people, like, they were just talking about Michonne like she was just a, she's not here. Smells good. I'm gonna be the first one. She ain't here yet. When she get back, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like, what happened? Like, how did y'all just become like this? The ZA is what, Lucy? How long? How long has it been?
Less than 2 years.
And y'all, all of a sudden, everybody's a rapist.
Awful.
Yeah. I mean, you hear now, like, about in war, it happens now in war, and it's insane.
So all of a sudden, everybody just become a rapist?
Just brings out people's
Not everyone,
worst
but
impulses, you know?
yeah.
So what happens is people like that, they tend to gather together. That what you're saying? They tend to coexist together because they're going to be okay with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like attracts like. So it's just like that
Yeah.
group with that they met in season 2, Tony and that fat
Fucking
guy.
Tony.
Yeah. Well, we never knew whether the young man, what was his name? Y'all had a debate about was
Randall.
telling the truth.
Randall.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. So, but everyone in there was talking about what they was going to do to her.
Yep.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
No one. I heard no one said like seriously. Like,
Yeah.
the world. I kind of. I would have to find. Like you said, I'm gonna be Eugene. I'm gonna have to find someone to protect me because the world would be awful.
Yep.
Well, it is. It's, you know, anyone can be a victim of assault, but I think for women, there is another level of protection and fear there in terms of, you know, the violence that can happen when the rules are gone, and it's scary, and you don't want it to be that way, but it is,
Yeah.
and that's rough. Like it's a rough go.
It's
Yes,
totally
yes.
fucked.
You know, talking like that, like, whoa, Michonne, I'm so glad you got away because, ugh.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Michonne could probably just chop all their heads off, though.
Oh yeah.
Still a woman. She's still a woman.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. Okay, Lucy.
I wanted to talk a little about Jeff Kober, who plays Joe the Claimer. And I was looking at his Wikipedia entry. He's been in everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was, in fact, in like his list of credits go all the way back to the 80s. He's been in stuff like The Twilight Zone, MacGyver. He was in one of my favorite episodes of The X-Files, Ice, which is basically The Thing, but it's Mulder and Scully investigating an Alaskan research center. What made me laugh is just like a year or two before this storyline in The Walking Dead, he has a recurring role in New Girl as the landlord, who's desperately trying to
That's right. I forgot about that.
desperately trying to have a threesome with Zoe Deschanel and Jake Johnson. And there's this one scene where he's in like a silk kimono playing the panpipes to On My Way by Rusted Root. And I just couldn't stop thinking about that throughout this episode. I was like, he's so good at playing this really creepy guy. But I've got Semi on My Way stuck in my head. So this is our kind of introduction to him, and we don't really see him. I think once you've kind of seen his face briefly, you realize this is probably going to be a big bad because that's not the kind of actor you cast to just be seen out of the corner of your eye. The whole setup of the Claimers with this and with Joe as this kind of guy who just sort of sinisterly bouncing a ball around the house. I've written, Renee, the Claimers are here. They sound lovely. They don't sound lovely. They sound terrible. I loved the way Andrew Lincoln played that fear. Like no words, just sweat and shaking under the bed.
He did the famous head tilt.
He did the head tilt. And I was thinking actually, this must have been a bit of a bitch to direct because there are so many near misses and so many like shots from room to room. I was like, I'd be really interested to see how they did it. But like there was so much they did to establish the Claimers that was really cool. Like when Rick's under the bed, he sees that the Claimer has blood on his shoes, and that's like an immediate kind of red flag that these people are violent. I would argue in the zombie apocalypse, like when you're killing Zeds all the time, it's maybe less of a red flag, but it adds up. Everything we hear about these guys is that they suck. Like they're beating each other up, they're trying to kill each other over beds. I did laugh a little bit at the moment when Rick's like under the bed and it looks like he's sort of awkwardly waving at the guy who's getting asphyxiated. Like, hello.
You just said